So let's start with the basics then. How did you two meet, and what made you two go, do you know what, shall we make some music?
Well, we've known each other since art college, or you were doing media, weren't you, or something?
I was, yeah.
Yeah, I was doing art.
So we are like a classic 90s art college band. We met in the, what was it? Would have been early 90s.
Yeah.
And we kind of bummed around in bands together, and made sort of a bit of noisy music. It was early 90s, so the kind of music that was around then was quite gothy, quite punky.
Yeah.
And we just kind of got together and made a bit of noise, didn't we? Did not care what we looked like. The kind of music that we were playing was just stuff that we really liked. It wasn't really an issue whether people liked it or not at the time. We just got on really well. So our lives after art college kind of went in separate ways, and then years later we got back in touch, and we've both been in bands all of our lives really, and just decided to make some tunes. We always sort of talked we should get back together again. And
so who does what in the band?
I'm the drummer. Gareth is the kind of brains behind the whole gig. You have to rely on other people a lot, and if you really are passionate about something, which we both are, you tend to find that people aren't either as passionate as you or don't really take it as serious as you.
They've got different priorities,
and that's
yeah.
And we always felt that we had the same priorities, and music for us was kind of a first love and a passion. And it wasn't about making money, it wasn't about being famous rock stars. It was just about getting together and making some music. And
I did a version of Bite the Road, which is the first song, in 2014, I think, which I just put loops on instead of drums, because I hadn't got back into contact with Simon about that at that point. And then that kind of just hung around for a bit. It had some minor sort of play on some internet radio and in America and things like that. But that was it, and on Welsh radio. And then I thought, I need a drummer.
You do the drums first. I mean, how do you work? How does it actually work?
For this couple of songs, we went to go and get the drums recorded separately. So I did a guide track, so I played and Simon drummed along, and that we used those drum tracks for the songs so far.
Yeah.
Gareth obviously is the production sign, and then Mad Scientist brains behind it all. But it takes a spark and an idea, and then we bounce that around together until it comes into some form, and work on it that way. And then when there's production things going on, I'm obviously floating around the world somewhere, so Gareth is in his little studio, and he'll send me mixes, and then we'll talk about it, discuss it. It goes back again, and we do that until we're both happy with it.
To me, you sound like you're already in a professional studio. That's blown me away to find out that you've probably just done it.
I kind of know myself what sound I like, what I want the drums to sound like. I use a vintage kit, which I really, I'm quite proud of that. Modern recording, which is something I hate, always uses similar sort of trigger sounds, and there's never any balance between the bass drum and the snare. Everything's a bit generic. And that's definitely not what we wanted. We wanted that kind of live, organic sound of a drum kit in a room.
At the moment, so Simon, you're in Auckland?
Auckland, New Zealand, yeah.
Auckland, New Zealand. And that's because your job takes you there for, you said earlier, about 8 months of the year.
So when we recorded the singles that you've heard, I was based in Switzerland. And I would fly in for the weekend, and we'd go into a studio and just knock out the tunes. Yeah. And it was the end of a season for me in Switzerland, where I think we'd been in a studio for about 4 or 5 weeks and just went, let's just record all the tracks that we've done. And then while I'm away on the next stint, wherever I am, then Gareth just, puts everything together and makes the track. So so it's very much a collaboration, but obviously I'll fly in, do some work in the studio, disappear off again, and then it's an online collaboration.
I mean, I'm using old tech as well. I'm using an old Logic. I haven't even moved to Logic Pro X yet. I'm still on Logic 9, and I'm on a 2008 Mac Pro. But it all works.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
In the day, there's no reason why it can't be fine now. It's just, it's that kind of chasing new technology thing that you...
When do you stop tweaking it? Do you both actually send the file to each other and then you're like, no, I'm good. That's good.
If Simon's happy... Because I'm usually sort of pretty happy with what I've done. I send it to Simon, and if Simon's got some suggestions, then I change it, and then... So, this has taken a long time, but for the last year, COVID has been really useful. A lot of people have felt that in the creative world because they've got time. So consequently, we've gone from like this glacial movement through practicing. We almost got to the point, I think, where we're practicing, where we were getting near to the point where we could have gigged. Only a short gig, 6-7 songs.
So you're the vocalist?
Yes. It's singing, and it's bass, not guitar. It's a bass that's split 3 ways. So a bass signal, obviously, and then I put 2 versions of the signal, left and right, through pitch shifters and fuzz boxes, and then you get a kind of a royal bloodish kind of concept. I've had 2 people in Scream, for instance, as a lady I used to know from way back when I was in Shropshire, called Katie Proudlove. She did the vocals. It's a call and response song. Scream is about a lad who's too confident, doesn't really know what he wants, but he thinks he does, and she's like, nah, sod it. And then the last song was, at the end of the song, it's my wife. I took samples of an airport.
It's an airport, right, yeah, that figures.
Yeah, and then I used the actual chimes, the idea of the actual chimes for Charles de Gaulle Airport, but then I realised that, and this is something that, at the end of the screen, it's my wife again speaking, doing the announcement about catching a spaceship to Proxima Centauri, Yeah, which is dead sci-fi and cool. And but if you listen to the chime is actually the little solo that's in Bite the Road. At the end. So it starts at the first part of the
Simon's looking like he didn't know that.
The first part, and the second part's the second part.
I didn't know that.
I think I did say.
Do you know what? I'm sure I did, but we did Bite so long ago.
Yeah, I did say.
But you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's quite clever.
Well, the track's going down really well. I'm playing them on Supersonic, which is my Indian alternative rock show on a Sunday afternoon. Gave you a big shout out, and I said to the listeners, let me know what you think in the comments, and it was overwhelmingly positive.
I have to create the videos, and I'm learning from scratch. I'm learning with an old copy of Adobe CS5 on a 2011 MacBook Pro. So it takes off with bloody fan noise and what have you, poor thing. And so that's a long process and learning process. I enjoy it, and I like what's come out of it. If you look at on YouTube, Bite the Rope is literally just a visualizer, dead simple. Scream's got a bit more going on to it with words and what have you. But then Sweetness is properly edited. It's the film Flying Down to Rio and a few others, the Japanese sci-fi and another Japanese sci-fi, I think it was. It is shouting into the void a lot of the time. There's so many people out there doing stuff. I know hand on heart, that we are somewhat unique. You can't be truly unique, but there's not a lot of bands that sound like us.
True.
And it is actually a bit of a problem when it comes to trying getting your music out there, because a lot of the marketing that you do to try and get people to notice what you're doing is to try and, so what band do you sound like?
Yeah.
And then you use that. So for YouTube, for instance, you place your adverts on similar sounding bands. And apart from Royal Blood and maybe Muse, there's nobody really like us as far as I can tell. I'm sure there are somewhere, but they won't be very big. I'm not party to making things more popular in some way. I genuinely like heaviness and sweetness together.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it shows.
So songs will tend to have. Bite the Rope is probably the least poppiest, but the other two are definitely poppy over a heavy, structure, which is one of my favourite things. That's why I love Devin Townsend, for instance. He's just all over that.
Yeah.
He's constantly doing really sweet stuff over like heavy riffs and things. He's more metal. There's no clicky kicks on our music. Which is very pleasing to Simon, because that's one of those things you get in metal. We're more sort of in the grunge, sludge. Who knows?
Yes, who knows? You're gonna need to come up with a term for it at some point.
Cosmic sludge pop.
Cosmic sludge pop. Spoken like a true space wizard. But with your sound, it is so unique, and not unique. It's strange. It's familiar, but not.
So when we're in a rehearsal studio or a recording studio, for us, we play quite organically. We like to play live together. And because the bass signal is split three ways, it's still quite a big sound anyway. Yeah. So you've got that low sound, you've got the mid and the treble coming through. So it almost does sound like a band anyway. The studio jiggery pokery is just icing on the cake.
I love, part of me, I get chills from beautiful stuff, and I get different kinds of chills from incredibly heavy stuff.
Yeah.
From when Korn do their heaviest riffs, like at the end of "I Will Protect You" or "Insane." That was a good one. That was a good bloody riff. That
we've got just under an album's worth of material almost ready to go. Obviously we need to get back into the studio and finish off the last of the tracks. Next year we'll have something out.
But you take it easy, stay safe, and FYDstar. Thank you very much, Gareth and Simon.
Cheers.
Thank you.